Right, Inga. You've locked yourself out, you silly girl. Don't forget this damn machine. What on earth is going on around here? Who's it? Is there someone there?
The human man. We must find him and kill him.
Whether invoked or not invoked, either will come.
You run bastard! Come out! Coming out! I kill you! I kill you! Where are you? You murdering bastard!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the middle of our season of Donald Pleasence-related Italian films from the 80s. Pretty much all from, all from the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And my name, isn't it?
Oh, they're definitely
we
all from the
started.
80s, yeah.
They're all the 80s. That's the whole point, right? You'd think I'd know by now what we're doing, but I don't. So anyway, hello, everybody. My name is Adrian, and I am here, as ever, joined by the incredibly busy Rod Barnett.
Hello, everyone.
Rod is constantly working and watching films so that you don't necessarily have to.
This is true. I sometimes take the abuse that others would take onto their shoulders if I weren't warning them away.
But then sometimes you do, we get to discover some gems, I would say.
Yes.
So it's not always.
This is true. Sometimes you get surprised. Something happens and you're just sitting there slack-jawed, impressed by something that you expected to be garbage. So it's it's yin and yang. Picture a seesaw, folks.
Sometimes digging into the very dregs of cult cinema can feel a bit like the kidnapped slaves in this movie who are breaking rocks looking for silver.
You are not stretching the analogy too far there, sir. Not at all.
Rod and I are currently researching for a commentary track that we can't talk about yet that is really scraping the bottom of the barrel, I would say.
We are hunting for information. It's like picture of pigs hunting for truffles in a field full of landmines. It's difficult.
Mm-hmm. And they're, very scarce on the truffle front. But anyway, enough of we might have more food analogies later. But Rod, what have you got going on at the that you can talk about at the moment?
Oh man, food analogies. Yes.
Anything new that you want to plug?
Well, there's the Truck Turner podcast has been published. So those of you interested in Isaac Hayes and his brief career as a leading man, i.e. one film, go check it out. It's well worth your time, I think. And plus you get to hear the excellent theme from Truck Turner because, of course, it's Isaac Hayes. What else do you want? Gearing up to do a podcast on another Stuart Gordon film. This time out, it'll be Robot Jocks. We've got to get that.
Oh, nice.
We've got to get that in the can here sometime soon. Also doing an episode on. I'm having Holger back to talk about a single film this time, as opposed to the last time he and I talked when we discussed 6 Mabusa films a while back. This time we're only talking about The Treasure of Silver Lake, which is a hell of a film. Really, really excellent German Western. Possibly my favorite of the various Old Shatterhand and Winnetou films, but that's coming up here very soon. And oh man, what else is going on? There's all kinds of projects in the wind that we can't necessarily speak about, but those are the ones coming up as far as the Bloody Pit is concerned.
Well, it's like you and Holger willed that Mabusa box set into existence. It was very impressive.
I know, and of course we've got the thing is there has been this release of other Karl May westerns. The German westerns. It's a set from Eureka.
Yeah.
Part of their Masters of Cinema series, called Adventure Calls Carl May at CCC, which has a number of the Winnetou and Old Shatterhand films. It does not have Treasure at Silver Lake, but that's okay. It's got 7 German-made westerns, and so it's a good place to just start if you've never seen any of them.
Oh, well, I'll be cancelling my pre-order now.
You can't have them all. They made I think they made 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I won't ask you now. We'll let people listen to your. I'll listen to your episode on it, and we'll find out why it's not in the box set. But yeah, those Mabusa films are great as well. So that was, that'll be fun. Good. Yeah. And I don't think either of us have got any disc announcements to mention since last time.
Not anything fresh, no.
No. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who voted for us in the Rondo Awards. I was too late last time.
Yes.
I think the votes closed whilst I was editing the podcast, but it was fun to be nominated, and at least we were at the top of the list alphabetically during the nominations. So that's.
Shall I trot out the standard line of the loser, which is, it's an honor to just be nominated.
Oh yeah, I mean it just means somebody's listened to one of our tracks, which is always nice, because often in reviews they don't even get that much of a mention. So it was nice to think that people had listened to us.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, I did stumble across quite a very positive review the other day. I can't remember why I was looking, but maybe I just needed to cheer myself up. I found a very nice review of our commentary for House of Lost Souls.
Oh.
I think it was on Unpopped Cinema. They were very complimentary about us, which was very nice. So it's always good to know that people are listening.
True.
But hey, we're also just giving away our gold standard analysis for free here on this podcast.
Gold stand. Never have I felt so tarnished.
Well, let's just get straight to it. So we're in the middle of this season of Donald Pleasence films, and we've struck gold, I would say here. We've mentioned some relatively obscure films so far, but we've hit a big one this time, as we find the great hero that is Django from 1966. 21 years later, he has returned in Django Strikes Again. Cue the, I'm going to say it right now, terrible theme. There it is. I'd like to just flag up the music first of all.
Go ahead.
Disappointing is what I would say.
I would agree with you.
It's the one thing. I'd say I think this is a great film. The music is a letdown. It's like it's just cheap.
I agree.
Really cheap, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the one element of the movie that I now feel it was in desperate need of rejiggering, replacing other words that start with R. Just anything to do.
Removing.
Removing might even, just removal full stop might work.
Yeah.
And the thing is there's been music for other films that this composer, we should say his name. Gianfranco Planizio.
Yeah, Gianfranco Planizio.
There are other movies that he's done where I did not feel that his contributions were so subpar.
Hmm.
Violent Milan and Young, Violent, and Dangerous. Those did not have scores that stood out as detrimental to the overall storytelling. But then
No,
again,
and he's done a few other scores. He's done several scores for this director
yeah,
earlier in his career.
quite a few.
But obviously he discovered the synthesizer at some point, and that was really where the rot set in, I would say.
Yeah, that's where the synthesizer became I hate to use a cliche that seems to be relatively true, but once you are leaning into the synthesizer, you're making more money. I think it's so cheap to use a synthesizer
Yeah.
rather than an orchestra, fast and cheap. So
Mhm. Yeah.
it deteriorates quickly.
It's the main element that dates this film, I think. That
Yeah.
and possibly Franco Nero's choice of hairstyle. But
Oh yeah, that's true.
that definitely dates it to the mid 80s. He did also, just a quick shout out, he did do the score for Treasure Island in Outer Space, Antonio Margheriti's, I would say, still to be rediscovered children's epic,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
really great.
Which is something that here's the terrible thing is I don't remember the music from it. I've only watched it one
Oh,
time,
yeah, no.
so
But
I
at
don't
least
remember.
synthesizer would fit for that one.
This is
'cause
true.
it's
This is true.
set in space. I keep hoping Severin are going to do a re-release of Treasure Island out of space. I've dropped hints pretty much every time I speak to David Gregory, I'm like, so Treasure Island out of space.
Should we get to the begging part?
Yeah, no, maybe one
Please.
day. Anyway, so the music kind of sounds like some session recordings from Enya that she decided not even to use as B-sides.
That she like calmly was eating a sandwich during takes. Yeah.
She's like, yeah, no, let's not use that. But otherwise, I really enjoyed this movie. So let's get stuck in. This, of course, is the only official Django sequel.
This is true. I have a quick question before we go too far. When was the first time? How long ago did you first see this film?
About 3 days ago.
Oh, holy hell. Okay, good. So your experience will be slightly different from mine. See, I saw it when it came out on the Anchor Bay double feature release of the original film and this. And that's still, I think, the only real release of it here in the States that has existed.
Right.
And which now is a shame, but I'll admit that having discovered Django and then sitting down to watch the official, no joke, we're not kidding around, actual sequel to it, back in the early 2000s when that DVD set came out, my feelings at the time were, what is this crap? I did not like it. I was unimpressed. And I think that a lot of that boils down to how much I enjoyed the original film. So my first viewing back 20 years ago or plus was disappointing. I was not impressed, did not like it, felt that it really missed the mark on a number of different fronts. And so imagine my shock when I sat down to watch it a week ago and loved every minute of it. Total 180 on this. I could not be happier to have rewatched a film in a long time. This is one of those bizarre moments that sometimes as film nuts we talk about, where you revisit a film years after the fact and your reaction totally shifts. In this case, I'm a real fan of this movie now, and it's kind of disappointing that there isn't a better looking version out there.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, this is basically The Mission meets Commando.
That's not bad, yeah.
So it's very rooted in its 80s influences and has very little to do with the original Django. and could have just been a regular film, but I like the fact that it is that character, that we catch up with him after 20 years.
Yeah.
Now, of course, this is the only official sequel, but there were many Django films.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there were films that were released under the actual title they were made under, and then re-released or released in other countries under a title that incorporated Django. So the list of quote unquote Django movies is roughly the length of I don't know, the Bible. There's just way too many of them.
Well, look, according to Wikipedia, which, as we know, never lies, there are around 28 films that are either have Django's name in the title or have a character called Django. But I reckon there must be more than that.
I think I've seen just 28, and I haven't seen all of them. I know.
And they've just announced that they're going to make a film based on the comic book of Django Meets Zorro.
Yes, which is a very exciting prospect because that actually was a pretty darn good comic book, I have to admit.
And I think Jamie Foxx is going to play Django.
Yeah, it would be that Django. It would be the Tarantino Django. If this actually gets off the ground, I will be utterly shocked but very happy. And I'm thinking it may actually happen mainly because we now have in the books a sequel to Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood being made by David Fincher. That is, I think, due out later this year. And so if Tarantino is willing to sign off on his Jamie Foxx version of Django being used by another filmmaker, bring it on, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. Then we need Django Meets the Three Musketeers. That would surely be the logical next step.
Well, that would complete the trilogy, right?
It's like the Venn diagram.
Yeah. I mean, it's natural.
Zorro has hung out with the Musketeers loads of times, so
yeah. I mean, it's I'm not gonna go crazy and ask for Django Meets Hercules. I'm not gonna ask for that. I'm just gonna mention it and just dangle that out there. So.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, so before we dig into some of the people, some of the actors, I was going to say.
Yeah.
We know who they all are really. But I just wanted to mention the director, Nello Rossati, credited here.
You mean Ted Archer?
Ted Archer. Yeah.
Nice American accent there. Good. Well done.
Yeah. Ted Archer. Yeah, I mean, as American as apple pie, Ted Archer. He is a director whose work, I have to confess, I am mainly unfamiliar with, except I do know there's a film in his filmography that has been on my radar for a while, but I haven't actually watched, which I really want to see, and I've mentioned it before, I think.
Which one?
Called Io Zombie, Tu Zombie, Le Zomba, which is I Zombie, You Zombie, She Zombies.
Yeah, I looked that one up. It appears to be a comedy, so...
But listen to the description. A horror sex comedy about 4 zombies who are running a hotel and trying to eat their customers. I mean, I rest my case.
I thought you were about to say, come on, man, the jokes just write themselves. Yeah, that's the problem.
Exactly. I mean, and then it ends in a shopping mall. I mean, what more could there possibly be to want in a movie? So...
Could it be the first parody of Dawn of the Dead?
Well, exactly, right? And it's very possible. So that's on my list. But he also did, perhaps his most famous film is The Sensuous Nurse with
maybe
with Ursula Andress, which obviously has a big cult following, I think.
Well, I would also say that, especially now that it's available on Blu-ray here in the States, I think Top Line probably is well known enough to bring up, which appears to be the film that he and Franco Nero were making when they decided to do Django Strikes Again as well.
Yeah, of course. Yes, which we've mentioned on here before, which is like a cross between Indiana Jones and E.T.
And the Terminator.
I still don't think I've seen that. I've got to get that Blu-ray.
It's crazy. I mean, Here's the thing. I'd wanted to see that particular movie, and I can't remember the title that I knew it under on the bootleg circuit, but I never saw it until very late in the whole bootleg fanaticism. But for a long time, there's this crazy sequence. There's a sequence in the movie that was used on this clip tape that Video Search of Miami, a famous group of bootleggers, put out years ago, and it was that clip involving an enraged bull and Franco Nero that made it look like one of the most completely crazy films ever made. And it's not quite top notch madness, but it kind of needs to be seen if you're a fan of insane Italian cinema. Top Line is it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, I need to watch that. He also did a giallo called La Gatta in Calore, and I have never seen that one. I don't know.
I haven't either. No.
If you're familiar with that one. That's one of the early sort of Argento-inspired, where you put an animal in the title. And he did stray into that really popular genre of slightly incestuous sex comedies with La Nipote, which means the niece, about an orphaned girl who goes to live with her uncle, and hijinks ensue. So,
what about the film? It's called "Don't Touch the Children." Appears to be a crime film, but with that title, I guess they're threatening the children. Thank goodness. But there's a part of me going, "Oh man, what is that all about? What's that about too?"
Yeah, perhaps best to steer clear of that one. But yeah, certainly not that many compared with a lot of Italian directors. He only has 15 credits in around a sort of 20-year career, and he wrote the screenplays for more or less every film he directed. But I don't know that much else about him. I've been unable to find. He must have had something else that he was doing in his life to not be just constantly directing like his contemporaries.
Yeah. Not sure exactly what he may have been up to. Not sure if he had some kind of side job, if he was doing something else. I mean, because with a lot of directors, I mean, Umberto Lenzi's a good example. So a lot of these directors would spend a lot of time making commercials or doing all kinds of other doing all kinds of other things that involve filmmaking, but not the kind of stuff that would get your name noticed or top line the credits of something. So hard to know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only other bit of biography that I've been able to find is that he went to the National Academy of Dramatic Art and did some acting in the theatre and stuff before he started making films. But yeah, that's about it. But anyway, for whatever reason, he didn't make that many movies. But based on this film, I will definitely be seeking out some more of his films, because I think that the direction of this one is very good.
Well, I'm very interested actually in his 1979 film A Woman in the Night. It's a thriller. I'm not sure if it moves into the giallo end of things, but it looks fascinating. Cast is interesting. Danielle Vargas, Ajita Wilson. So it looks fascinating, but I don't know anything about it. So I'm very curious about that one. It's I will put it this way. I will eventually find out.
Yeah, he's got a couple of cult names in there, like you mentioned, Danielle Vargas, who we seem to talk about every week when we did our swashbuckling season.
Yep, because he was all over those movies in the 60s.
Yeah, and Ajita Wilson is in that one, and the IMDb description: Aldo Moratti is a man separated from his wife who, to pay for food and be able to keep his daughter, writes porn novels.
Right. And so with that description and it being described as a thriller, we seem to be missing an element or two.
Yeah, exactly. Quite intriguing. Yeah, so that's our director, Nello Rossati, Ted Archer, and another person I just wanted to flag up whose name I spotted in the credits, Donatello Donati, who we spoke about back in, I think, November on our Stage Fright episode.
Yes. I remember.
Yeah, and she was so this is not a Film Mirage production,
No.
but she is here freelancing, I guess, as a production manager, which was her day job on film sets when she wasn't producing.
And I do wonder how many movies that she had that kind of position on where her name would not turn up, because apparently she was fairly busy during the 80s.
Mm-hmm. And we should also mention the producer Luciano Martino,
Yeah.
whose name is all over the kinds of Italian films that we watch as a producer.
Mm-hmm.
Just well over 100 credits. Perhaps most famously, he was married to Edward Finneck.
Which is how he ended up producing so many of her movies.
Although they were divorced by this point.
By this point in the 80s, yes, they were. This is true.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, he just, tons of films. Island of the Fishmen is a particular late favorite of mine in his career, but...
I absolutely love that movie. I adore that movie. You talk about sometimes just real surprises. I'm a huge fan of the 1970s Edgar Rice Burroughs film adaptations, like People That Time Forgot, Land That Time Forgot, Warlords of Atlantis, and stuff like that. And the Island of the Fish People is so very much in that vein, so very much like a lost Edgar Rice Burroughs by way of Italian exploitation film. I absolutely love it to death, and I am shocked at this point that I have not done 3 podcasts where I do nothing but talk about that movie, because I would feel the urge. Trust me.
That's the one that got the extra stuff done by Roger Corman, right? When it was released in America,
right, and turned it into a film called Screamers. Yeah, and with the enticing poster that informed viewers that you will see a man turned inside out, which was a lie, but still,
we had to wait until Society to get that.
Yeah, really, which was only a few years off. So hey.
Yeah. Oh man, I saw that clip when I was way too young. That was a very formative moment in my early
The Society clip
life. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
Somebody just brought the VHS to school and just showed us that
to school.
That bit. Yeah.
Oh my lord, that's not a school activity. That's definitely extracurricular. You shouldn't be shown that at school.
Yeah. And seeing that out of context, it's just hard to process.
Yeah, no kidding. What am I watching? Who made this? Should I go have a shower?
Yeah, what's going on? Anyway, and it took about, I don't know, a couple of decades until I finally saw the actual film. And then I was like, oh, it's a comedy.
Yeah, it is the darkest of sick comedies. Yeah, it's a body horror comedy of epic proportions.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, straying off topic here. So yeah, so that's he's worth mentioning. But let's get to our cast. We must have talked about Franco Nero on this podcast before. Have we?
I don't know the guy. Who is this Nero guy?
No. I'm sure we've done Franco Nero films before, haven't we?
Oh man, have we? Surely we have.
I'm trying to think now.
I mean, I know I've probably seen 50 movies he's been in, but I don't know if we've talked about them.
At least, and he's still working. According to IMDb, he's got over 240 credits, including, intriguingly, he was in a TV series called Django just 3 years ago.
Wow, really?
That looks like an Italian TV show.
Good Lord, that's crazy.
I know, right? But yeah, just what an amazing career
Oh yeah.
he's had and is still having.
Well, that's just it. If you just limited yourself to say like the past 20 years, I could list off films like, okay, so The Pope's Exorcist, which is not everybody's cup of tea. I enjoyed the crap out of it.
Oh, that was so good. I loved that. Yes. He was so funny seeing him as
He's
the
awesome.
Pope in that. It was brilliant.
He was in the second John Wick film. He was in The Lost City of Z. Of course,
that's good.
the aforementioned Quentin Tarantino Django Unchained, playing, one would argue, his titular character here. Oh my goodness, what else has he done in just the past 20 years? There's so much. That's crazy.
I saw him in a Serbian mermaid horror film.
Okay then.
Which I saw that at Fright Fest about 10 years ago or so. I'm just looking to see if I can see what it was called. Killer Mermaid. There you go. 2014.
That nails that down.
He plays the kind of Quint character who is the expert who hunts the mermaid. But what was fun with that one, said the director did a Q&A, and they said basically they'd written this film and Franco Nero was making an appearance at a convention, like in the country somewhere, in the capital. So they just wrote to him and said, would you do a cameo in our film? They'd sent him the script. They just asked him if he would appear for 30 seconds. And then he looked at their script and he wrote himself into the script to be a really good character, and then just came and was in the film. And really beefed up his part from a cameo to a major role. Just what a guy.
Yeah, true. But I mean, I look back through his career and I'm just utterly stunned every time I think about some of the stuff he's been in. I mean, for American fans, you point to probably Die Hard 2 as something that people have probably seen. But the stuff that draws me in is the crazy European stuff almost always. Oh man, all the stuff he did with Enzo Castellari, like Day of the Cobra and Jonathan of the Bears, and
we have definitely talked about him before because he's in Wild Wild Planet.
Very true. One of his earliest roles.
Yeah, he's in all four of those films. Well, he's definitely in the background of a couple of them, and then has a more major role in a couple of the others.
Well, we talked at length about him and John Huston and everybody else involved in the bizarreness that is The Visitor from 1979 on the Bloody Pit a while back.
Oh, yes. What a great film.
It's completely insane, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of John Huston, he's also plays Abel in the Bible.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is I really enjoy that film. It's really good for what it is. I think it's really good. But it's fun to see him in that.
Then there's Keoma, one of the late in the cycle spaghetti westerns by Castellari that I'm a huge fan of. Oh man, so many films.
And also just a really great personal story. Like he met the love of his life, Vanessa Redgrave, on the set of Camelot in 1967. And they appeared in a couple of films together after that. And they had a child together, but then they kind of drifted apart. And then they came back together and got married in 2006.
Yeah.
So it's like a really sweet sort of love story of how they came back together.
Yeah, it kind of seems as if they never. It was not an angry parting between them, and it became this thing where they knew each other so well that it just seemed better for them to be together. So
yeah, and they made a really nice film where they play aging lovers in Letters to Juliet, which is where most younger people probably know him from now. I would say that's a very popular film with teenagers in my experience.
And what they should know him from are movies like The Monk from 1972. But do they know The Monk? No, they do not know The Monk.
And I must have mentioned this before, so I apologize for name dropping, but I went back in, I think it was 2010, at one of the Cine Excess festivals, because it was organized by Brunel University, they arranged to give honorary doctorates to Franco Nero and Vanessa Redgrave.
Oh, cool.
So I was at the ceremony where they presented them both with honorary doctorates. And I wrote some coverage of that for Cinema Retro. If you Google it, it's on the Cinema Retro website. And I took some nice photos of the two of them in their robes.
Mm.
And I did and Franco Nero did sign my Django Blu-ray.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just out of curiosity, do you think you could name your favorite Franco Nero film?
I think I'd have to say Django.
Really?
I really
Okay.
would. Yeah, from his, I mean, obviously he's done tons of films I've never seen, and I love every film I've seen him in, but I think ultimately that is the film I'd probably go back to the most.
I love Django, but if we're just going to restrict it to like the Western stuff, I actually think I actually like Companeros a little bit more.
Okay.
There's something about Companeros that really, there's a lot of humor in it, whereas Django is a very dour film. And there's something about Companeros that I just really, really love. Of course, he plays a jerk in Corbucci's The Mercenary as well. It came out in 1968, which is amazing. But past that, it just becomes this back and forth of trying to decide, which film to choose. Because for a long time, I watched Keoma kind of on a loop. I just really enjoyed that movie when it came out because it was like this little hidden thing that I didn't know I would ever get the chance to see until it came out on DVD in the early 2000s. And it's just, most people are put off by Keoma because of the insane score with this yelling woman, this insane woman's voice kind of doing this Greek chorus across most of the film. But once you get used to it, it's I don't know, maybe it's like a food substance that you really hated the first time you tried it, but the second time it was tolerable, and by the third time it's something you cannot live without.
Speaking of which, we should probably just drop in Enter the Ninja into the conversation.
This is true. Might as well.
A lot of people love that film.
Well, remember, it takes a ninja to kill a ninja. So that's what I learned from that movie.
Right, we should move on. Just quickly mention a couple of other members of the cast. The devil, the main villain here, is the wonderful Christopher Connolly, who we have mentioned several times on this podcast.
We've covered a number of his Italian-made films from the 80s. It's been kind of a shock, really.
Yeah, we just talked most recently about Cobra Mission.
Yep.
Where he's kind of the hero.
He's... I would say that I think there are really kind of three heroes in that movie, but yeah.
Yeah. And also Atlantis Interceptors, of course, which we enjoyed many years ago now.
And I just recently finally saw Jungle Raiders, the Antonio Margheriti film.
Oh man.
That came out.
I'm still waiting to get home so I can watch that.
It's fun. It's so much fun. It really is.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, I kind of know him from the first place I probably ever saw him was when I was a kid, from his role in Benji, the film about the dog. But he had such a long career starting in the 60s, a lot of television, the Peyton Place series, which is apparently where he kind of became a well-known face over here in the States. And made a lot of movies, a lot of television. He's in one of my favorite. If there's a category of film that we could just label, "Why do you like this?" This film would be on it. It's called The Norseman from 1978, starring Lee Majors and a lot of NFL linebackers playing Vikings. He's in that as well. It becomes this thing where I see him in a movie and it's like, man, I kind of always known this guy. And it was sad to learn that this was one of the last movies that he made. Lung cancer took him just, I think 2 years after they shot this.
Yeah. Yeah, shame. Also want to drop in the name of Licinia Lentini,
Oh, yes.
who plays somebody who's sort of referred to as the Countess in this film. And I recognized her from Day of the Cobra,
Yeah.
which has just come out on Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. And but she pops up in a couple other films that I've seen recently, like To Be 20. I watched that. That was a Gloria Guida film that I watched when we were doing our Gloria Guida research earlier this
I
year.
assume she was mostly naked in that film.
Yes, but she's only credited. The IMDb just says lesbian woman. She hasn't even got a name,
Oh my goodness.
according to this, which is a bit sad. So she wasn't one of the main characters, I don't think. And of course, she also turns up in The War of the Robots, which we really enjoyed on this podcast.
No, we did not. Do not lie to the people. Don't lie to them. They'll never trust us again. But she did have a role in Lucio Fulci's 1978 spaghetti western Silver Saddle. So I remember from that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, she's quite good in this, and I have to admit she's playing a character that we don't really know from the structure of the story and the way her character is being used in it exactly how she's going to play out, what kind of character she's going to shake out to be. And I think she's quite good in this.
Yeah. And then also, like, do we feel sorry for her?
Yeah.
Or not? And this is interesting. Yeah, she's a good character. Anyway, we'd probably better get into some plot summary here because we're getting on and we haven't.
We have been talking for a while.
Obviously, yeah. Donald Pleasence is in this film too. We'll get to that.
This is true. One thing I would like to ask. Apparently, this movie was made kind of in conjunction with another film being shot at the same time. Well, similarly, one after the other, called Tex and the Lord of the Deep. Have you ever seen this?
Never heard of it.
Tex and the Lord of the Deep came out in 1985. William Berger and Juliano Gemma. It's an adaptation of the Tex comic series. That's TEX. They were popular in Italy at the time. It is a spaghetti western.
Yes.
I have never seen this, but trust me, I will be seeing this very soon because I did not know this existed. I do not expect it to be good, but I will not stop. That will not stop me at all. Well,
William Berger also turns up in Django Strikes Again,
which is and that weird. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, but this one that's interesting. It's directed by Duccio Tessari, and Giuliano Gemma is in it. So Tex is still popular now. You still see Tex fumetti in Italy on those stalls next to the Diabolics.
Well, from what I understand, this may be the only attempt to turn it into a film, and I guess it did not do very well at all. Yeah.
Oh, right. Intriguing. So Django Strikes Again, like as you said, it didn't come out in America until it got a DVD release, it looks like.
Yeah.
And I did some research to see what I could find, and it was advertised in Variety in 1987. There's a full page, really good ad that basically got Franco Nero dressed as Rambo holding this massive gun. But it doesn't look like Franco Nero. It's like they painted the picture before they knew Franco Nero was going to be in the film. But it didn't get picked up by anyone. But it did come out on VHS in the UK in 1988, and then again it was re-released in 1993. 1989, sorry, the first time, and then again in 1993. So I haven't been able to find any contemporary reviews apart from a very brief mention in Sight and Sound that mentions the VHS coming out. And so I can tell you the plot summary from that because it's only one sentence. It says, unlikely monk Django digs up his coffin, dusts off his machine gun, and returns to his old ways when a wretched count starts enslaving peasants. So that's the
That's a good description of the plot.
Yeah. That's the only contemporary plot summary that I could find. But I've got a better one on the Italian Wikipedia page, which we could just use to go through a little bit.
Sure.
Because it's quite detailed. Django has been retired to a South American convent for 15 years, abandoning the life of a gunslinger. Now everyone calls him Father Ignacio. One day, however, he receives an unexpected visitor with bad news. His daughter, Marisol, whose existence he had not even suspected until recently, has been kidnapped in San Vicente by the ruthless Hungarian Prince Orlovsky, nicknamed the Devil, for his cruelty. With the help of his well-armed riverboat and a handful of soldiers and local bandits, Prince Orlovsky captures the men to use as slaves in his silver mines and the women to sell to brothels. That's the setup.
Yep. That does not mention the odd kind of tacked on opening scene of the movie, though.
No, which according to some things I read, some of the VHS releases of this film didn't have that on it, which might be why, if you're watching this on YouTube, the pre-credit sequence is in Italian.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the film is in English.
That's the same print that Anchor Bay had.
Yeah. And I think it's because that bit was only seen in Italy, because the VHS releases didn't have that at all. They just start with the credits. But yeah, do you want to describe that pre-credit sequence?
Well, essentially it's, I'll short form it. There's essentially two elderly ex-gunfighters. One of them is in this small little town along the river, and he gets visited by the other. They apparently were antagonists in the past, but they spend their time at this meeting as old men talking about their own pasts and also reminiscing about various Western heroes, with them both agreeing that probably the best one was that guy with the machine gun in the coffin.
Yeah. And what was his name again?
Exactly. And then they the riverboat that we spoke about earlier shows up to the town. They walk out to the riverbank. They're in the village. The riverboat shells the coastline there and kills them. And then roll credits. So.
And then one of them, just in his dying words, is like, "Oh yeah, I remember his name. It was Django." And then he dies.
And that would be when we would hopefully have a swell of this excellent theme music. But don't.
That's where we need the theme to just kick in and go, Django.
Right. But we don't get that at all.
No. There must have been some copyright issues or something.
Well, I do wonder. I mean, if you look at the official writing credits, Corbucci was originally being enticed to come and make this film. And so there has been some back and forth about whether or not he came up with the story, or at least started talking with Franco Nero about the story one way or another, so that Sergio Corbucci's name is kind of attached to the very beginnings of the creation of this film. But of course, he did not end up making this movie. But I do suspect that if the filmmakers could have gotten their hands on that iconic theme music, it would have been something they wanted. And also, boy, would it have enhanced this movie.
Oh, yeah. So I mentioned Commando before. That also has a former sort of gunslinger / gun for hire who's retired and has a daughter now that he is raising.
Yep.
And then his daughter gets kidnapped to make him come back into action. And am I misremembering, or doesn't Arnie have all of these guns somewhere that he digs up, or am I mixing that up with John Wick?
You know, that's a John Wick thing. That's
John Wick, isn't it?
It's been a long time since I've rewatched Commando, although I'll admit I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times in my life. So I don't remember exactly how Arnold Yeah, I don't think Arnold's character has some secret stash of weaponry. I just think he manages
No,
to gather the weaponry as he goes and then take it from the morons who are in his way.
maybe John Wick, maybe those guys saw this film, and because he has to go and dig up. He's buried his weapons of war, and then he digs them up so that he can go and kick some ass and rescue his daughter.
Which he definitely does.
I don't want to. I think that's the setup, but I'm sort of reluctant to say much more of the plot.
Well, we do need to discuss his imprisonment so we can talk about Donald
Yeah.
Pleasence. But
So he does get. He goes after. Okay, he goes after the boat. He's captured, tortured, and then taken to the mines. And this is where the film turns into one of those Devil's Island films that we covered a while back
yeah,
in our swashbuckling season, where you've got all these prisoners who are being made to dig the island for, in this case, silver. And this is where he meets Professor Gunn, a Scotsman with a white top hat,
played by
Donald Pleasence, with a slightly ropey Scottish accent.
I was about to say, this is our second film in this series, this season of Donald Pleasence in Italy films. And once again, he's being asked to do a Scottish accent for no discernible reason. So at this point, we have to start asking the question, whose idea was it? Did Donald Pleasence think that he had a Scottish accent just nailed? And so this was something he could like pull out and throw
He's
around.
like, hey guys,
Yeah, exactly. Was it his idea?
I've got a great idea.
We'll make him Scottish. Or was this the request of various Italian filmmakers who were so clueless about what a Scottish accent really feels like to request specifically, Donald, could you do the Scottish accent? Could you do that one?
Yeah. Come on, we all saw you in Phenomenon. We know how good it is. Come
Yeah,
on, do
yeah.
it again for
I
us.
mean, you won't even have to be in a wheelchair this time, and there's no chimp to steal the spotlight. It'll just be you and the accent. Go to town. And of course, he puts the top hat on, going, well, I need a little distraction. The top hat's going to help me out too. So
Yeah. So what this Prince Orlovsky, the devil, who's played by Christopher Connolly,
Yeah.
who's a really good villain.
He's
in this film.
fantastic as a villain in this.
Yeah, and of course he has a hobby, as many of these tyrants do,
Yes.
and his hobby is not exactly, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's a pretty thinly veiled analogy of what he's like in his real life, because he collects butterflies and pins them to the boards and puts them in frames, which obviously is what he's doing to the local people as well. And so this guy, Professor Gunn, he was brought in by Orlovsky a couple of years earlier to help him track down this really rare butterfly, the I've forgotten what it was called. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, Mariposa Negra.
Mariposa Nera, yeah. And so because he couldn't find it, he's ended up imprisoning him and he's been in these mines for a year. So Django makes friends with him, and so Gunn helps him escape, and Django's like, I will come back, I will rescue you. And so the rest of the film, then he's on like a couple of quests. He's on a quest to rescue all the girls that were kidnapped, his daughter and the other girls who've been sold into this brothel. He's on a quest to go back and free all the slaves. He also picks up a little helper who, this kind of reminded me of Temple of Doom, how he meets a boy who becomes his sidekick, called Miguelito.
Yeah, the little boy has a reason for wanting to tag along as well. He's trying to rescue a member of his family as well.
Yeah, his father has been killed by Orlovsky, and Orlovsky's just got his father's skull on a post on the ship, and he wants to get the skull back so he can bury his father under the singing tree, I think it's called.
Yeah, which is another neat little lyrical piece of this storyline.
Yeah, that's great. So Django is he's got quite a lot going on here. It's just really cool. There's loads of if this had been directed by Antonio Margheriti, the entire last third would have all been miniatures.
Well, I don't know. Once you've got that life size, once you have that actual riverboat, that's that I think that changes your calculus. But
Yeah, because they've built this big prison camp, and boy, do they blow it up.
they blow
It's
the
really cool.
crap out of this place, and it is entertaining. It is quite fun.
Yeah, and we've got to mention because Professor Gunn is Django's helper with the dynamite, and we have to mention the almost Chaplin-esque scene where Gunn drops a stick of lit dynamite down his shirt and is doing a dance to try and find it, and it's down his trousers, and
And it was one of those moments where, because the film is a little, let's be clear, the film is fairly violent, and
yes,
it would not,
and serious.
and it would not be out of line for this character to, at this point in the film, the final third, accidentally blow himself to Kingdom Come. But,
Yeah.
it does, I will just say this, one spoiler, that does not occur.
Yeah. And it's just a bit out of character with the rest of the film, which, as you say, is pretty serious. And then we've just got him doing this little comedy shtick, and it almost makes me wonder whether Donald Pleasence came up with that, because like other things I've read about him, when he was making Nothing Underneath, there's a scene where his police inspector is at a Wendy's and he's trying to eat spaghetti with a plastic fork. And it is really funny.
Yeah, it is.
And at one point he snaps the fork. And I read that he improvised all that. That was all his idea. And it does make me wonder whether he came up with this here, because I just can't imagine that being in this quite serious revenge script. And he's probably like, hey guys, just keep rolling. I'm going to try something.
Let me do this and see. We'll see if you keep it or not. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really funny. So I'm going to give full credit to Donald Pleasence for that.
Well, it's such an entertaining movie. I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, no, it's never going to be better than the original film. But at the same time, considering my memory of being so disappointed in this movie, I'm shocked that it is so good in so many ways. It is. Let's put it this way. I don't know why anyone who saw this film, especially, 30 plus years, nearly 40 plus years after the fact, would not enjoy this film. I mean, other than, it's definitely, I talk a lot about late in the cycle spaghetti westerns and how they would have a very different flavor. One of my go-to examples of that would be the aforementioned Keoma, because by the time you get to the mid 70s, the people still making spaghetti westerns, they're aware that that the wave has crested, and so there's something different about those movies in general. Well, if you're still making a spaghetti western deep into the 1980s, there's got to be something dragging you toward this genre, and you're trying to either prove yourself or prove something about the genre, or you really think you've got something airtight. And in this case, I think that they thought they had something airtight. And watching this movie now without the overhang of the original film kind of coloring my view, this is a rock solid film, and I think it's a damn shame that it failed so miserably around the world. I mean, it really was. It barely made back its production budget, because there was an idea of doing a third one and kind of creating essentially a Django trilogy with Franco Nero in that role. And of course, it never happened.
Yeah.
But it's I did not used to feel this way, but I now really regret that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, because of they were trying to kickstart the Italian Western back into production as a big. Obviously, in Italy at this time, as we've talked about before, film production in general was on the decline, and we've talked about that in relation to horror. But it wasn't just horror; it was all film production basically was declining.
Yeah.
And they were trying to attempt to recreate the magic of the 60s and get the Western started again. Because I guess in Hollywood, it was a big deal in the 80s. You had things like Young Guns, and that kind of stuff. Like they were making westerns in
Well,
Hollywood.
that's just it. The Western never, it never really died out in Hollywood. The Westerns became very, very rare. I mean, they're rarer now, but they were very, very rare in the 80s. You would have the occasional thing come along like Clint Eastwood's film Pale Rider, and then things like Silverado from Lawrence Kasdan that were hits that people were well aware of and that traveled very well across the globe.
Yeah.
And so I think that the successes of films of that nature may have made some producers in Italy think that maybe we can kickstart this thing again and get another little bubble of them going. But it never really happened. None of the Italian westerns made after the mid 70s really were hits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a real shame. Like you said, because the Tex film failed, and then Corbucci was going to write this one and direct it. Then he quit because he saw how it probably wasn't going to work. And what's also interesting is that although they're trying to revive the Italian Western, they shot this in Colombia.
Yeah. And it's a good stand-in considering it's supposed to be taking place in Mexico. That works, but
But they didn't even go to Spain to film it like you would imagine. And that's why I think this film reminds me much more visually of The Mission than it does. This is not, although they're trying to revive the spaghetti Western, this basically, I think there's a shot in this movie. There's one shot where we see some cactuses or cacti, but otherwise this is not really a Western. It's a river adventure.
Exactly. And that's how they get away with not having the desert vistas that you're going to associate with these kinds of things. This is, they're not jaunting off to Spain to shoot in those very recognizable landscapes. So what they've got here is a story that takes place along the river, along this large river, which plays very well in my opinion. But I do think that aspect of the film is one of the things that kind of pushed me away from it on my initial viewing, 2 decades ago. Nowadays, it doesn't interfere with things at all. It doesn't bother me in the least. So.
No. I think perhaps the problem was calling it Django 2. So we're expecting that kind of film again. And this isn't. It's the same, but it's a really interesting, like creatively, it's a great sequel because it's doing something with the character that you wouldn't expect, but it makes total sense. After Django has experienced what he did 20 years earlier, it's no wonder he's in a monastery now. I mean, good grief. He's got a lot of deaths on his on his broken hands to come to terms with, right? So it makes total sense that he would bury his gun and swear off violence and then have to be kind of pulled back in, just like John Wick.
Or the character in Commando, or the character in, list every film that has this revenge plot. Yeah.
Well, exactly. This is, it's like Rambo and Commando. It's more like those films than a Western.
Yeah, it is.
Which in 1987, 88 should have been big box office. But maybe, I don't know why. I think maybe if they'd not called it Django, it might have had more of a chance. Maybe that was the problem.
See, that's the thing. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure that any Western not made with a bankable star in the United States was ever really going to ignite the box office of America or the world ever again. I think that for a large contingent of people, the spaghetti Western was something that, burned itself out in about a decade or even a little bit less with, in some places. And that was just a weird position for Western fans to be in. And that I think by the 80s was seen as sort of nostalgic, something that was of the past. And so trying to resurrect it, I don't know that anything could have made it work outside of if someone could have found a way to entice Clint Eastwood to come back to Italy and make another spaghetti Western. That would have worked. Yeah. But barring, a big star, because if you think about the Westerns that made money in the 80s, or really in the 80s or the 90s, there are names attached to them. There are stars. And
Yeah.
that is one of the things that helped those blips of Westerns from Hollywood actually function in the marketplace. And I just don't think, much as we may love him, Franco Nero, I don't think was ever going to be someone that could make people give a crap about a spaghetti Western. It's sad but true.
Yeah. And even on this this ad that they used in Variety, they've given him massive muscles.
Yeah.
So it looks exactly like Rambo or Commando. And I guess even Django does sound like Rambo. So you can see why they might want to stick with the name of Rambo. But yeah, then actually in the film, he's not this big muscle man.
No, he's Franco Nero.
Like all the heroes of the 80s, yeah. He doesn't look like Dolph Lundgren or Sylvester Stallone. But yeah, as you said, now 30 years later, we can just look at it and go, "Oh yeah, this is actually really good."
Yeah, I look at it now and I think of it as something that I used to have an ongoing conversation with some friends of mine. We would talk when we talked movies, and that would be about movies that were bombs and failures on their initial release, and then years later, people begin to realize just how amazing a movie they are. Great examples of that would be things like Blade Runner or Carpenter's The Thing, movies that just flopped hideously at the box office and now are considered go-to classics. Large percentages of people will rank them as they're amongst their 10 favorite movies and the best of the decade and things of that nature. And all of that is all well and good, except everybody lost their shirt making those movies.
Yeah, that's true.
This strikes me as a movie that I think we may be in a period of time where maybe this movie, no one please strike me down for saying this, but this may be a movie that gets discovered, because I don't think it would be rediscovered really. I think it would actually get discovered once we lose Franco Nero.
Yeah. Well, maybe I can have a word with some of these labels and say, look, that's a film you should look at again.
Do you have any insight as to why there hasn't been a Blu-ray release of this film? Is it that disrespected? Is it that poorly thought of?
Maybe it's just forgotten. I guess there are so many films that slip through the cracks, I suppose, that it's just been forgotten. It needs. Well, here we are. We're trying to draw some attention back to it, and
but aren't we the only ones right now? I mean, when was the last time anybody spoke about this film?
We have millions of listeners, Rod, so the word will spread.
So we are essentially creating a ripple that will turn into a wave that will result in there being like multiple releases of this in various countries where you have to decide which one has the extras you're most interested in owning. Yeah, okay,
exactly.
Sure. I'll believe that.
Franco Nero will be on the phone any day now.
Let's give him my phone number because I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah. Well, we can hope, can't we? It's interesting to know, you mentioned how violent this film is. In the UK, the VHS release was rated 18. Whereas in Italy, when the film was released, apparently in the cinema, but I haven't found much evidence to support that, but it was passed by the censors as without age limits. Anyone could go and see this in Italy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
did the Western get it? Did the Western in general as a genre get a kind of pass?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Because I guess you don't, although it is obviously there's a lot of death, but there's not much blood.
Yeah.
Maybe there's no kind of particular lingering on injuries.
Yeah, even amongst all the explosions, it's not like you see someone blown into bits or anything like that.
No. So maybe that's more what would have got it. I mean, that's also true of the first one, really, is there's a lot of death, but not much actual blood.
That's the thing about the original film is it takes a lot for me to cringe away from non-murderous violence in a film. But I have to say, when Django's hands get all mangled in that first movie, I can still feel that in my arthritis, man. It's just bad.
Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, I'm just looking now at the Italian newspapers, and they mention here how the film got slated by the critics. It was on TV in Italy by 1989, so it didn't have much of a cinema release in Italy either. Didn't do very well. So yeah, maybe now is the time to bring it back.
I think that it's an under talked about film, and one that I think that a lot of people who would enjoy it have never even heard of.
And you can currently find it on YouTube. And there are two versions I found. One doesn't have any subtitles, which, as I said, you need for the first few minutes. But then I did find another version that had very good English subtitles, so I was able to understand what they were talking about in the first few minutes. So if you can find that one, you'll be fine. But yeah, do check it out, because if you forget, yeah, as we said, just forget the fact that this is supposed to be a spaghetti western, because it isn't. It's just a really good river adventure, revenge, commando type film.
Set in the 1880s or 90s. So yeah.
With Franco Nero looking awesome when he comes back in his leathers and his slicked back hair.
True.
Looking a total badass. What more could you want?
And honestly, with a truly great villain.
Yes. And this was his last film, I believe.
Yeah, I think that there was another one that was released the following year, like in '89. But I think he may have already shot it. So, and oddly enough, it's Night of the Sharks. Who was the star of that? I get all the shark. You and I've talked about how we get the shark movies all mixed up. That's the one with Treat Williams. So that's the last of Christopher Connolly's films that were actually released. So
there's one quote here we can close with from an Italian magazine that said, "The story, disheveled and laughable in itself, has been translated into a comic book style mess which draws on everything that is most trite and banal. The film struggles with glaring narrative holes, various insipidities and crudeness, and a painfully conventional style of speech." So that's the kind of attitude that the Italian critics had towards it, and it only stuck in the cinemas for a couple of days. And it's just, yeah, like you said, with the benefit of a 30-year gap, we can just look at it now and say, what were they talking about? This is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's ripe for rediscovery.
Yeah. So yeah, check it out on YouTube. The one on YouTube is from the VHS, I guess. So you might be able to find a better print if you search for a copy of the DVD, perhaps. But
I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure that the DVD set that I have is out of print. Oh no! Apparently, that double feature, the one that I spoke about that came out eons ago, I see a copy on eBay for $14.99. So for well under $20, it's still available. And I guess that may be because nobody gives a crap about this film.
Yeah, exactly.
And that Django has had so many releases on Blu-ray that the DVD itself is of no real value. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. So, and I believe the DVD has the Italian audio track as well, but it was shot in English. Their lips are all moving.
Oh yeah.
In English. So that's really the track to watch.
And we should note, it's an excellent English dub. I mean, it really is. It's definitely Franco Nero. I'm not sure if that's Christopher Connolly, because that is a really good accent he's putting on. But it's the English dub is very, very good.
It's definitely Donald Pleasence.
Oh, and it's that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. as we've intimated before, it's Donald Pleasence, pretending to be Scottish. So yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. That is Django Strikes Again. That's a big 4 thumbs up again from us.
Agreed.
And so that really just leaves us to say, what are we doing next time?
It's another Donald Pleasence
I
film.
think it's another Donald Pleasence film. I believe the next one is Phantom of Death, isn't it?
No, I think it's Double Target.
Oh, he is. Oh, man. It's because he made so many films in the same year. I keep thinking we must be onto that one by now, and then it's still not.
I mean, as far as release dates, I'm not sure exactly when Double Target came out, but Warrior Queen, Spectres, and Django Strikes Again all have a 1987 release date. Yeah.
Double Target is next.
Which does make me fear for my sanity, I will admit. But, we've all got... let's let cinematic curiosity carry us over the speed bumps, huh?
Now, we might have to wait until I get home from China. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to fit that one in. So the next episode might be a little bit delayed, but we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
But anyway, thank you everybody for listening and joining in with all the craziness.
Pay attention to the show's link tree, which will give you access to finding the various episodes in various places, not to mention a list of all the films that we've covered, and the t-shirt shop that Adrian has spent so much time putting together.
Has not updated for ages.
Well, the shirts you've got on there are plenty awesome, so don't worry.
Thank you.
And the
very kind.
Oh, what else is attached to that link tree? I keep forgetting.
YouTube is on there, and Instagram. Anyway, yes.
Regardless, check the link tree. Check the link tree out. You'll find it in the show notes for this episode. And we're just glad. I have to say, I knew I was going to enjoy going through these Donald Pleasence films, and so far, yeah, even the films that I think are not particularly fantastic. I'm looking at you, Warrior Queen. I'm just glad to be doing this.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. I'll just close with a message from one of our listeners, Tom, who contacted us on Facebook and says, "Hello, many thanks for another great episode of Wild Wild Podcast. This is for our episode on Spectres. And for you and Rod providing your observations that I completely concur with on a fine little Italian horror. I liked this one, and as always, I appreciate the insights and humor from you both. Cheers, and of course, looking forward to the next installment."
Thank you, Tom. Yes.
And he also mentions the film Jaguar Lives, which I've never seen.
Oh, really? I don't know that. Wait a minute. Something about that rings a bell, but I can't.
Yeah, it's got Christopher Lee in it, I think, as well, but I've never actually... I have to add that to my long list. Jaguar Lives.
Oh, so 1979 action film.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Lee and Donald Pleasence and Barbara Bach.
I know, right?
It's apparently a karate film.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, exactly right. It just gets more and more intriguing. It's one I've been aware of, but never actually...
Woody Strode, John Huston,
mm-hmm.
Is it Capucine or Capucine? The actress. I never knew how to pronounce that name.
No. Intriguing. So.
Wow, that's
yes.
And with a no-name star as the lead. Hey, it sounds absolutely terrible. I can't wait to see it.
Exactly. It's like Puma Man all over again.
I know. It's just. I am aflutter with excitement.
Yes, thank you, Tom, for the recommendation. If anyone else wants to recommend favorite Donald Pleasence films, we're always open to be inspired, particularly if the films sound really weird, like that one.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back whenever we're back. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone. I have no idea why my voice went up as I said that.
The Puma Man, we must find him and kill him.